One of the reasons that we developed Share as a model was because here in the UK, social workers are being prescribed models. So an employer will have a particular model that the social worker has to follow. It usually means that the social worker has to do things in a particular order. They have to fill boxes in on forms and so on. And my view of that is that that leads to potentially a very tick box proceduralised approach to social work. Good social work is about the individual worker using their self and thinking about the person that they're connecting with. And that's very true in clinical practice. So the clinical practitioner needs to think about themselves and their use of self and the person that they're providing therapy or support to. So really, Share can be used in any way the individual practitioner wants to use it. They simply need to think about, what do I see in this situation? What am I hearing? What do I need to do? How can I draw on the reading that I've had? And how do I later evaluate that experience? So you could use Share in the moment, or you could use Share to plan a session. So if you're going to be working with an individual, then you want to think through, what is that person going to see of me? That might help you to think about how you're going to present yourself, even down to what will you wear. During COVID-19, we're doing a lot of things via Zoom and online. You want to think about, what's the person going to see behind me on camera? You want to think about that. So you could use it to plan ahead. What does the person need to hear from me? What affirmations might I need to try and bring into this session, as an example? What do I need to do to support that person to feel safe to open up? How might I draw on my reading to be able to use that in practice? So it's very flexible, it's very adaptable, it's up to the individual user how they're going to use it. What Share does is it gives a multisensorality to social work, drawing on all of the senses of the worker and the client. The COVID-19 pandemic is clearly impacting on social work all over the world. I provide reflective supervision for social workers, and it's had a huge impact on how I deliver and provide that reflective sessions, for example. But you can think about, and also talking to social workers who are out there in the field working through the pandemic, maybe we can't see people in the same way that we used to. We need to now virtually see people. So we need to see people through a camera lens or in a different kind of way. But we're still seeing them. And we can still think about how that seeing impacts. So we can think about, how does it feel to see someone through a camera? How do we support eye contact? Well, we can't through a camera. So thinking about seeing and hearing is still very relevant, even in our currently changed world. It may be that we need to listen to people differently. It may be that, for example, I know one worker has spoken to me about somebody that they would normally visit and see. This particular client has a speech impediment, and sometimes it can take a very long time for this social worker to sit with this client who has a speech impediment and work through the situation. Because of COVID-19, all of their contact has been distant, and the social worker felt that the usual methods that she was using with other people, so camera, contact, Zoom, wasn't working well for this particular service user. So she started to use email as a form of communication. She has learnt more about this man in a few emails, she feels, than she ever did when she was physically seeing him. We need to maybe listen in a different way. So it could be that where our seeing and our hearing could be impacted by COVID-19, maybe we need to draw on another element of Share, perhaps reading, perhaps action will help us to build. I think maybe sometimes we're over-reliant as social workers on the first two elements of Share, seeing and hearing. When the seeing and the hearing is compromised by physical distancing, then maybe we need to dig further into the rest of Share, and that might have an impact on the way we practice in the future. Social work around the world has many similarities, but also lots of differences. So a message for social workers around the world would be, the key aspect of social work is it's all about hope. Everyone is born with hope, but sometimes hope is lost or hope becomes difficult for us for various reasons. Social workers need to be able to hold hope for people and provide hope to people. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we need to maintain hope in ourselves and hope for the clients that we work with. There is a better world. Things will improve. And we may learn a great deal from this pandemic that we can use to improve our world for the future. So I suppose my message to social workers around the world is that now is the time for us to step up and to bring our expertise along with all of those health workers currently working on the front line to keep people alive. We need to step up to keep hope alive.